All right, the time has come. We've got a big one today. Like, I shaved, I got a haircut, I got myself looking all pretty because we're talking one of my favorite categories today in Oscar predictions, Best Actress. My name is Brian Rowe, and this is the awards contender. Who is going to be nominated for Best Actress at the 96th Academy Awards? Here we go. So this is my final acting race to talk about in my early Oscar prediction series, and kind of like Best Supporting Actress, Best Actress is kind of up in the air right now. We don't have too many locks, I would say. There's not like 4 people that are 100% getting in, and we just kind of have to think about that 5th slot. Who might sneak in and be a surprise? Writing down my list today of Best Actress Oscar predictions, I was like, this is kind of insane. Right now, in early November, I would say there's just one lock. There's just one person who is definitely getting in and who is probably, like I'm already kind of predicting her, probably going to win Best Actress next year. And that's Emma Stone in Poor Things. Poor Things, directed by Yorgos Lanthimos, is a stunner. It is a beautiful movie from beginning to end. It's so entertaining, wickedly funny, well written, well acted. It is just a blast of a movie, a masterpiece. 10 out of 10. It is one of my 3 favorite films of 2023. And I've said this before, and I will say it again. Emma Stone gives the performance of the year. She is spectacular in this movie. I was blown away. I have always loved Emma Stone. I've admired her in so many films, but she is on another level in Poor Things. You have not seen an Emma Stone performance quite like this one. I mean, she has obviously been gifted this wonderful screenplay, this complex, fascinating character. Bella Baxter is funny, sexual, confused, sad, kind of drifting at times, finding her voice and her confidence. It is such a beautiful arc of a character throughout those 2 hours. And Emma Stone, even though she has already won an Oscar for La La Land back in 2017, if she had won for La La Land like 2 years ago, even 3 years ago, I'd be a little bit nervous about her chances, definitely for a win. I think even if she had won for La La Land last year, she'd still be nominated for Poor Things. It is just such a great, memorable performance surrounded by this terrific film. I'm feeling pretty confident Poor Things is getting into Best Picture, Best Director, Best Supporting Actor, Best Adapted Screenplay. Emma Stone getting into Best Actress is 100%. It's for sure happening. I think she is the frontrunner still here in November to win Best Actress. I have at this point seen most of the 2023 releases, and even though I have loved a lot of great performances and lead roles by women, I don't think anybody has come close to what Emma Stone accomplishes in Poor Things. The fact that she is relatively young and has won before makes me think someone could surprise. There might be enough Academy members to be like, we're not going to give Emma Stone a second trophy this early in her career. And I kind of understand that. So I wouldn't say she's a lock to win right now. We'll see what happens at the precursors. But she is definitely getting her 4th Oscar nomination to date for her fantastic performance in Poor Things. Okay, so Emma Stone takes slot number 1. Who comes next? Now, I'm not going to call any of these 3 women a lock yet. I wouldn't say they're 100%, but right now in November, I'm feeling pretty confident about slots 2, 3, and 4. Like 99%. I think they're getting in. The person who gets slot number 2 is Lily Gladstone for Killers of the Flower Moon. Yes, it is Stone versus Gladstone. I feel like I'm going to use that in a thumbnail one day. Now, to be perfectly honest, I have mixed feelings about this. If you've watched my review of Killers of the Flower Moon, I was mixed about the movie, and one of my big issues with it was I felt the character of Molly that Lily Gladstone plays becomes kind of passive in the second half and is off screen a lot and doesn't get a whole lot to do in the narrative. I personally think Lily Gladstone should be going for supporting actress. I mean, she's definitely the lead female performance of Killers of the Flower Moon. I don't know. I don't know how competitive she's going to be. I'm not so sure at this moment Lily Gladstone is going to win anything in the lead actress category. Like, we'll see. Maybe I will be totally wrong on this. Emma Stone gets pushed aside. She's already been rewarded before for La La Land and other things. And Lily Gladstone suddenly becomes the frontrunner and wins the Oscar. Like, that could happen. I'm not going to say it can't. She is, of course, very, very good in Killers of the Flower Moon. I will not be sad. I will not be disappointed if she starts winning stuff for that performance. I was just a little bit let down by the character itself, the screenplay. I wanted her to have more to do, especially in the second half. But despite some of my mixed feelings about Killers of the Flower Moon, I am definitely in the minority. Most people love this movie. They love Martin Scorsese. I think Killers of the Flower Moon is going to do very well at the Oscars. I don't know how much the movie will win. It might be like The Irishman in that it gets nominated for everything, but it doesn't win anything on the night itself. I do think that could happen. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if Gladstone can win some big prizes early in award season, but I'm feeling pretty good right now. She is definitely getting an Oscar nomination for Best Actress. The third slot goes to Sandra Hüller for Anatomy of a Fall. I think she's getting in. It's almost a certainty. It's just too good of a film, too strong of a lead performance to be ignored. Like, I don't know exactly how well Anatomy of a Fall is going to do throughout the season, but I will be surprised if Sandra Hüller misses anywhere. There are so many things to love about Anatomy of a Fall: the screenplay, the direction, the pacing of the film, the claustrophobia, the editing, the production design, that winter setting. There's so much great stuff in Anatomy of a Fall. It is one of my favorite films of the year easily, but it is that Sandra Hüller performance you walk out of the theater thinking about first. She is dynamite in this movie. In a year of such strong lead performances by women, Sandra Hüller is having a moment. Not only is she excellent in Anatomy of a Fall, she's also very good in The Zone of Interest, which could potentially net her a supporting actress nomination. She could absolutely pull an Al Pacino the year of Scent of a Woman and Glengarry Glen Ross, Scarlett Johansson recently, who was nominated for both Marriage Story and Jojo Rabbit. Sandra Hüller, the more I think about it, because both of her films are so great, like, she might get in twice. I think her supporting actress nomination for The Zone of Interest is kind of on the bubble. We'll see. But she is absolutely getting in for Anatomy of a Fall. Just that argument scene alone, which is about halfway through the film. We have a flashback scene, her arguing with her husband, and it goes on and on and on and on. And it is spectacular, so authentic, so brutal. Like, Sandra Hüller has been around for many years, but 2023 is the year she came onto the cinema scene, a force of nature. She is such a talented actress, and she got to show everything she's made of in Anatomy of a Fall. I think Anatomy of a Fall is getting into Best Picture, probably Original Screenplay, maybe Best Director. I do think Director is on the table, as I'll talk about in the next early Oscar predictions video. And then in Best Actress, no matter how competitive this category gets, I don't think Sandra Hüller is in like 5th or 6th place. I think she's around 3rd place as of now. Sandra Hüller is getting into Best Actress for Anatomy of a Fall. And then slot number 4 is going to a performance I have not seen yet. I am going off of what people have said about her performance and the film, and kind of her history with the Oscars. She has been nominated twice. She has not won yet. She is one of the greatest actors of her generation. I love her. I also loved her in a small performance in Saltburn, Carey Mulligan in Maestro. I think that's going to happen. I can't see at this moment Mulligan missing in Best Actress for her performance in Bradley Cooper's new film. Again, I haven't seen it. I don't know how strong of a performance she gives, But based on the trailer, it looks like she ages throughout the film. It looks like she's got a nice, sparkly chemistry with Cooper. And I just feel like Maestro is going to do very well at the Oscars, getting into Best Picture, maybe Director, definitely Actor for Bradley Cooper. I would say it's a lock to get into Best Original Screenplay, and it's going to get a bunch of tech nominations. I don't think the film is going to get all of those nods and then not get into Actress for Carey Mulligan, who the Academy adores. They have nominated her twice. I think she should have like 3 or 4 nominations by now. I loved her performances in 2011 in both Drive and Shame. I think she should have gotten in for one of those, probably Shame. And up until the last second, I was predicting Mulligan would win Best Actress at the Oscars for Promising Young Woman. I was like, since they're probably going to give it Best Original Screenplay, they'll likely give it to Mulligan too, in an actress race that was all over the place that season, if you remember. It didn't happen there, but could Carey Mulligan win for Maestro? It's not off the table. She will have kind of an overdue narrative because Mulligan's been nominated twice before, and she's going to be in one of the strongest Oscar contenders of the year. I am definitely going to have my eye on Mulligan the next few weeks. We'll see how she does at the Precursors, and I'm very excited to see the film. I'm hoping I get to see it before it drops on Netflix on December 20th, I believe. I hope I get to see it before that, but whenever I do get a chance to check out Maestro, I will have a review for you on the channel. Alright, so to recap, I think there are 4 women very, very likely to get into Best Actress. We have Emma Stone in Poor Things, Lily Gladstone in Killers of the Flower Moon, Sandra Hüller in Anatomy of a Fall, and Carey Mulligan in Maestro. I'm feeling pretty good about those 4 names. Who is going to take the 5th and final slot? Now it gets really tricky. Because in my estimation, right now, there are 7 names hovering around 5th place. 7 women I could see getting in. Depending on how well they do at the Precursor ceremonies, if they can get into at least 1 or 2 of them, if they can win anything, like depending on how well their films do overall, like any of these 7 women can get in. I'm not going to go down a long rabbit hole of like 15 other performances that I admired throughout 2023. Films like 1001 and Flora and Son and Fair Play and Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret have wonderful lead performances by women, but this year it's just so competitive. Like there is a chance for some big surprises in supporting actress, I would say. But in lead actress, I think that 5th slot goes to one of these 7 women. Let's start with Margot Robbie in Barbie. I would say one of the big question marks of award season is how well Margot Robbie is going to do in the Best Actress category. I think she's definitely getting in at the Golden Globes, and I think she has a shot at getting into Critics' Choice. I mean, it's interesting. Margot Robbie gave a great performance in Babylon that should have gotten into the Oscars. Like, she should have been nominated for that film. It was an amazing turn in a movie that just did not perform at the box office. Enough people, enough critics disliked the movie for it to kind of fall flat and be an Oscar fiasco. Only get 3 technical nominations. And then she has this gigantic blockbuster hit in Barbie. It's been popular with critics, with audiences, with everybody. And there is this sense right now in November that Barbie is going to do much better throughout award season than any of us are predicting. Like, I've heard people saying Barbie could win the Best Picture Oscar. I'm not going to go there yet. I don't think that's happening. But in terms of nominations, I think we're all pretty confident that Ryan Gosling is getting into Best Supporting Actor. I predicted in a recent video that America Ferrera will make it into Supporting Actress. Now, it's going to feel very weird if Barbie gets into Picture, Screenplay, Supporting Actor, Supporting Actress, and it doesn't get into Actress for Margot Robbie. She's the star. So I'm like, the more I think about it, in the last couple weeks especially, I'm like, we might be underestimating Margot Robbie. Like, she might get into more ceremonies than we're expecting, and she could get into the Oscars. I mean, I would say she's a wild card right now. She could get that 5th slot. And I'm not going to predict her in this video, but I'm definitely going to keep an eye on things. If she gets into Golden Globes, Critics' Choice, and SAG, and maybe wins something along the way, like, watch out. I mean, she is one of the main reasons why Barbie is as great of a film as it is. So Margot Robbie in Best Actress could definitely happen. Next up is Annette Bening for Nyad. Is Annette Bening going to be recognized this award season for her performance in Nyad? I would say with each passing week, her chances are dwindling. I saw the film A Telluride. I liked it more than others did. I walked out very impressed by her performance. Because she's been nominated 4 times before, has never won, I could see her surprising. Like, maybe she doesn't get into all the precursors. Let's say she only gets into, like, Critics' Choice and SAG. She misses at Golden Globes and BAFTA. Let's say that happens. If she can get into at least 2 of the precursor ceremonies, and let's say Jodie Foster also shows up a little bit this season, I would not count out Annette Bening. I think her biggest hurdle right now is there's enough people who just aren't responding to the film itself. I kind of feel like to get into Best Actress this year, you have to be in a movie that's at least getting into like a screenplay category, one other acting category, picture. So if Jodie Foster does really well throughout the season, let's say she wins something. Jodie Foster wins Best Supporting Actress at SAG or something. Like, if Foster turns out to be super competitive in the category and Bening shows up at a couple of the precursors, I could see her getting into Best Actress at the Oscars. But again, with each passing week, I feel like her chances are becoming less and less because of the crazy competitive nature of the category this year. And so right now, I don't think Annette Bening is going to make it in. But at the same time, it wouldn't surprise me. Annette Bening has had so many Oscar nominations throughout the decades, and so the Academy has responded to her before. Sadly, at this moment, I do feel like Nyad might turn out to be another 20th Century Women, Film Stars Don't Die in Liverpool, where maybe she gets into the first couple ceremonies, and then by Oscar nominations morning, the movie is basically forgotten. I am feeling that way about Nyad right now. Another contender I would say is Anjanou Ellis-Taylor for Origin. I've heard really good things about this film. I have not seen it yet, but she is a recent Oscar-nominated actress for King Richard in the supporting actress category. Origin premiered at Toronto to excellent reviews and is directed by Ava DuVernay, who has been invited to the Oscars before with a couple of her films in like picture and documentary feature. I feel like Ellis-Taylor would have a better chance in a less competitive year if there were 2 or 3 slots up for a surprise. I just don't know if there's enough room to get her in this year for a movie that I'm not sure is going to do extremely well throughout award season. Again, if only Ellis-Taylor starts showing up at some award shows for her performance, but the movie itself is not getting into picture, director, screenplay, then I get a little nervous. Like, can she actually make it in at the Oscars? I adore this actress. I would love to see her get in. I would say she's got like a slim outside chance right now. I want to see the film, get the full reaction. And then Natalie Portman for May December, another film I haven't seen yet. It's dropping on Netflix on December 1st. I am a huge fan of this cast, of the director Todd Haynes, and you can never count out Natalie Portman. Like, she's been nominated for 3 Oscars, and she won for Black Swan. That is my favorite acting Oscar win of the 2010s. She is a sublime talent. She's always surprising us with different kinds of projects, different genres, and she's so talented, so charismatic. Some of the reviews I've seen of May December have kind of said it's not like the most awards-friendly movie. Part of me wonders if it's going to be one of those really good end of the year releases that ultimately don't show up very much during award season, maybe gets 0 Oscar nominations. Like it might be that film the Academy runs hot and cold on Todd Haynes' work, and I don't know. I just wonder if we are overestimating May December. It might not play a big role at the Oscars. I need to see the film first, of course, but I do think this year there are more exciting choices for that 5th slot rather than Natalie Portman getting in again. I feel like 3 white women, all born in the 1980s, like we're gonna shake this category up a little bit, and I do feel like Natalie Portman's time might come again down the road, but she's probably not getting in for May December. That's my feeling right now. Another small outside chance I would say at this moment is Kaylee Spany for Priscilla, partly because she won Best Actress at the Venice Film Festival, so we have to keep that in mind. She's a new, exciting, up-and-coming star in a Sofia Coppola film that I found to be very beautiful. She is terrific in the movie. It's kind of a restrained performance. It's not one that you could find like 5 obvious Oscar clips. There's not a bunch of scenes of her yelling and screaming and crying and getting emotional. Like there's one where Elvis is trying to force her out of the house, like getting her to pack, where she's kind of losing her shit. But for the most part, it's kind of a restrained performance, more on behavior, the way she looks at him. And so I do feel like that restraint she gives in the performance might hold her back to get into the Oscars. And I'm not quite sure how well Priscilla will do. I would say Sofia Coppola is in like 6th or 7th place of getting into adapted screenplay. Jacob Elordi is hovering probably around like 8th or 9th place for supporting actor. Priscilla might be an example of another very good end of the year film that just doesn't quite make it into the Oscars. Although I would love to see Kaylee Spany get in somewhere this award season, I do think she gives a very good performance in that film. I mean, Best Actress at Venice, she is the star playing a real-life person, so she's definitely in contention, but right now I do think Kaylee Spany might just miss. Alright, so we are on the home stretch. There are just 2 final names to talk about, and for me, these are the 2 actresses I think have the best shot of getting that 5th place slot. Right now, in November, the biggest question mark of all is The Color Purple. As of this recording, nobody has seen it yet. I have not seen a single review. This movie could be spectacular. This movie could be a disaster. I do think with the cast that they have assembled and the source material, it's going to be good, if not great, and might be fantastic, like we don't really know yet. I will be very surprised if the new Color Purple film is bad. Like, I will be genuinely surprised. We knew for months leading up to Cats in 2019 that was going to be a disaster. I don't think The Color Purple is going to be a huge disappointment. That would be a shock to me. I think worst case scenario, it'll be like a 6 to 7 out of 10. It'll be fine. And then the best case scenario, it is a like 9 out of 10 and is going to get lots of love this award season. Fantasia Barrino as Celie in The Color Purple. Is she going to get an Oscar nomination? I don't really know. Like, for many months, I have had her in my top 5. It made sense to me given that Whoopi Goldberg was nominated for Best Actress for the 1985 Color Purple film, and Fantasia Barrino has gotten amazing reviews for her performance on stage, and so it would make sense with a character this complex. The physical and emotional arc of Celie is an all-timer. And if Fantasia Barrino is bringing it, not only with her performance in general, but also with all of the singing that she's going to have to do throughout the movie, with its late December release, it's probably going to do well at the Golden Globes regardless. Like, I feel like Fantasia Barrino will probably beat out Margot Robbie at the Golden Globes in musical or comedy. And Fantasia Barrino has been around a while, like on stage, on American Idol many years ago, but she hasn't really led a movie before. So if she does a tremendous job, I feel like her nomination is probably going to be safe. I feel like The Color Purple probably gets into Best Picture, Best Supporting Actress for Danielle Brooks, likely some tech categories like costume design, music. Like The Color Purple probably gets at least 6 or 7 nominations. The 1985 Color Purple got 11 nominations, so I don't know. It's really tricky because we haven't seen the movie yet. So I'm like 5th place or maybe even 3rd or 4th place might just go to Fantasia Barrino. And I'm overthinking this. And I'm not being smart. Just because the world hasn't seen the movie doesn't mean she should be left out. If a great blockbuster success of a film, popular with critics and audiences, comes out at the tail end of the year, that's a good thing, not a bad thing. It might be the #1 movie everybody is going crazy over right at that crucial time of award season going into January and February. So I'm really close. I am very close to saying Fantasia Barrino will get in. I think if I was betting with hard-earned cash, I would probably bet on her, but I am not choosing Fantasia Barrino. I don't care if I am going down with the ship on this one. There is one performance of 2023 I want to see get into the Oscars. Like, this performance absolutely broke me many, many months ago when I watched the film. I have not stopped thinking about it since. This is my favorite film of the year, and I adore this performance with my whole heart. Greta Lee in Past Lives. Now, as I've talked about in a couple of my other Oscar predictions videos, like sometimes I vote with my heart more than my head. Is it possible that Greta Lee will miss for Best Actress at the Oscars? Very likely. Like, I'm not going to be shocked, crying, out of my mind, berserk, if on Oscar nominations morning, Greta Lee doesn't make it in. I think it's very well possible she will miss. Past Lives is a small film. Greta Lee gives a pretty grounded, quiet performance in the movie. What she does is not flashy. There's a lot of walking and talking. So I'm like, at this moment, Greta Lee will get into Best Actress if there is enough passion from Academy voters, from critics and audiences who want to see this happen. I think it's very tricky for a film that premiered at Sundance, that came out in theaters in June, to compete in a very competitive category of like 5, 6, 7 women trying to get into that last slot for Best Actress at the Academy Awards. Greta Lee, I have seen on many prediction lists in like 8th or 9th place. I don't think I've seen anything in recent weeks where she was in the top 5. Like, at best, she's in like 7th place right now. And a lot of this is going to depend on the precursors. Like, she needs to get into a couple of the precursors, if not more. If Greta Lee comes up short at the Golden Globes and Critics' Choice and SAG, then we've got a problem. Then I'm gonna get nervous. I do feel like if Past Lives at the Oscars can get into Best Picture and Best Original Screenplay, Greta Lee has a shot. And so even though in my head, I do think in some ways she has a lesser chance of getting into Best Actress at the Oscars than, say, Margot Robbie, Kaylee Spany, Fantasia Barrino, maybe Natalie Portman. Like, I would say there's probably 3 or 4 other women that, like, statistically, like, might have a slightly better shot of getting in. I am just so passionate about the film Past Lives and Greta Lee's performance. It is brilliant. It is one of the best performances I have seen in a movie in years, and where she takes that character all the way to the end, that just devastated me, like, for days, not for a few minutes, for days. Greta Lee is an amazing talent, and I think she gives the the performance of a lifetime in past lives that should be recognized at the Academy Awards. And to be perfectly honest, right now, I do think Greta Lee has a significant shot of making it. My early Oscar predictions for Best Actress are Emma Stone, Poor Things, Lily Gladstone, Killers of the Flower Moon, Sandra Hüller, Anatomy of a Fall, Carey Mulligan, Maestro, and Greta Lee, Past Lives. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. And let me know in the comments below who you think is going to be nominated for Best Actress at the 96 Academy Awards. And stay tuned in the coming days for my early Oscar predictions for Best Director and Best Picture. We'll see you next time at the Awards Contender.